Welcome, everyone. So today we're going to talk about the playlist landing page. Essentially, this is where your workflow is. This is where you're going to start and end when we talk about uploading content, maybe even creating content, and just publishing those assets out. So this is really the primary application that you will be using. Now, when we talk about asset management, there's a couple of ways that clients, right, create assets. So you have some people that are creating those assets in Canva. And then if they're creating them in Canva, usually they're exporting them as like a PNG file and then really just kind of coming into our system and uploading them. That's sort of one workflow. The other workflow, similar, is designers who use Adobe products. So again, they're in Illustrator or Photoshop. They're creating the content and then exporting it as a PNG. Another way, by the way, is utilizing PowerPoint or creating PDF or Word doc or Excel file, right? Those are other sort of workflows. And then the last workflow, I should say, is we actually have an internal system that allows you to design content as well. So that's sort of 4 workflows. Now, when we talk about all these different workflows and we talk about managing those assets into a playlist, there's really 2 directions you can take. And I wanted to just bring this sort of into the tutorial in the beginning. That way, when I get to it, it'll hopefully make a little bit more sense too. So one avenue is you have to ask yourself, does my content need a start time and an end time? Or not even time, by the way, maybe date. But I just think of holidays. Holidays are always a good scenario because it's like holidays come and go. So what's great about our system, right, is that you don't need to be in the system every single day. So when you're creating that content, again, in Canva or it's a PowerPoint, does that content need an end date or a start time or anything? The other sort of direction is no, it doesn't, right? I just want to quickly add the asset. It's going to run 24/7, and it's really going to just be up to me to go back into the playlist and again, remove those assets. So those are really the 2 directions you have in our system. So now you know that. Let's kind of dig into here. So in the playlist landing page, you can see I have 2 playlists, right? I have one called My Playlist and I have one that's called Corporate Info. We really have some basic, simple stuff here, right? So first of all, the first column, or maybe the second column, is that it's telling me that these playlists are running on X amount of players. This really helps me because as you can see, just quickly looking at this, I only have one active playlist because it's running on 11 players. This one is really not running anywhere. If I want to see where my playlist is running, I can simply just click on the number 11 and it's really just going to give me a list of those players. Now, keep in mind, even though it gives me a list of these players, by the way, the only thing this does not sort of parse or filter is that it doesn't show me if the players are online or offline. So just kind of one thing to kind of keep in mind is that, yeah, it's showing on 11 players, but are all those players online? The third column here is active assets. So again, it's what is strictly running on this playlist? I've got 32 active assets or I've got 6. The next column called Shared with Me, this depends on every organization, right? Everyone's a little bit different on this column, but some organizations, they do have playlists that are shared to other facilities. If that's sort of your organization, you would see sort of a number here. Just like the facility players, it would say, 12 or 10 or 5, and you'd be able to click on it and be able to tell you where it's shared to. Again, if this is empty, no worries at all. It just probably means that your organization isn't using that capability. Then we have the duration. So the duration is obviously calculating the active assets. So my first playlist, is almost about 1.5 minutes or a little bit over 1.5 minutes. And then when was it last modified? Obviously in our menus right here, we have a couple options. So the remove expired items, this one's kind of nice. And I feel like a lot of people don't know or forget about it or just don't know it. But so when we talk about, adding assets to your playlist, those assets that have end dates, they don't automatically remove from the playlist. So if I click into my playlist, and I'll just do that just to give you a visual. This first one is perfect. It says expired. You can see that it's still in my playlist, but it's expired, right? It's not running because obviously the status is expired. So depending on how you like to manage your playlist, now I'm a little OCD, which means when I manage my playlist, I like to just strictly see the active ones. If it's expired, get it out. So essentially what this does is this remove expired items. It will do that. It will look at this playlist and say, okay, she has 6 expired assets. I'm going to remove them for her. There's no wrong here, by the way. It's just depends on how you want to manage your playlist. It really comes down to that, and everyone is just different. Of course, too, by the way, you can share it to facilities. So that's kind of the same thing with this column here. And then you can delete it, of course. A couple other things, and then I'll show you guys the new playlist flow, and then I'll talk about the content. Or I'm sorry, how to add content. This guy right up here, this playlist filter. So as a default, every time you go into your playlist, you're going to see all these different statuses, right? The active, the inactive, the scheduled, and expired. Now, sometimes, and again, this kind of goes based on how your organization is essentially set up, but some people, they are managing like tons of playlists, like over like 20, 30 playlists. And every time they click into the playlist, they're like, man, I don't care about seeing expired assets. Now, there are ways to filter it when you are in a playlist, just to be clear. You can filter it on the column. But if you like just do not want to see it, you simply can just turn that off. And what this means is that it doesn't matter if you're in one facility or you jump to another facility. Every time you click on a playlist, you will not see the expired assets. So essentially, that's what this sort of mechanism is doing. All right. Before I dig into the new playlist creation, now we can talk about just that add content. So I said in the beginning, right? Do you want to schedule the content or do you want to just quickly add it? So there's two ways to add content in your playlist. One, well, actually, I'll just kind of say one is by selecting one playlist, or you can select multiple, okay? The other way to add content, by the way, is to simply click into the playlist and then you see the scheduled and add content right here. So those are the two ways. You can do it on the landing page or you can click into the playlist. There's absolutely no wrong in which direction you take. I will say the benefit of staying on the landing page, though, is that I can select multiple playlists, right? So if I'm pushing content to more than one playlist, this is where I would start my workflow. If I'm only pushing that content to one of them, then I probably would click in. But again, there is absolutely no wrong. Those are the two ways. So as I select my playlist here, you can see we go back to what I originally talked about. We have the scheduled content workflow and we have the add content. I'll start with the scheduled content. All right, so the first part here is I can just retrieve anything from my media library. So anything you upload, by the way, into your playlist, it also gets added to the media library. So if you have any like recycle content or if there's anything that you want to like reuse, instead of having to like re-upload that video or that PowerPoint or whatever it may be, you could retrieve those assets from your media library. The second one is video URL. So that's like YouTube links or Vimeo links. And then the last one is upload file. So this is like my Canva users or my Adobe users. So just one little like limitation with this. So first off, this flow, when we talk about scheduling, only accepts PNG and JPEG. So if you are a Canva user and you're creating it and you're exporting as a PNG and you want to schedule it, this is sort of your workflow right here, and the same with Adobe. Now, if you have PowerPoints or like videos or Excel files, unfortunately, as of right now, we cannot upload them in the schedule flow. It's only in the schedule flow that we cannot add them. So again, upload files, video URL, media files can take you to the schedule. So I want to show you guys that schedule UI. So I'm just going to grab from our media library here. And again, you guys, you can add bulk and you can select bulk, right? I can select multiple media library items. I hit continue. All right, so this is the UI I wanted to show you. So first off, it's giving me a little thumbnail letting me know that I've selected 3 assets. It's also verifying that these are the playlists I have selected. So I have 2, pretty simple, but if I had like 4 or 5 and I was like, crap, I don't want my playlist on there, I could easily take it off or I could easily add it. Then we have the start date, end date, right? Sort of the time. To me, this is like very, very straightforward. Do you want it to run full screen and the duration? Any videos, by the way, especially if they've been uploaded already in the media library file, we know how long the videos are. So you don't need to like reinsure or like re-put the duration of the video. It's like, we know it. The only duration you're putting on is, again, those PowerPoints, there's JPEGs, PNG files. All right, so then I would hit confirm and it would get added. So that's the schedule flow. The second one is the add content. So again, we have the upload files. So this, my friends, if you have videos, right, or PowerPoints or PDFs, this is where you can essentially upload them. Again, now when they're done uploading, so I'm just going to throw some stuff in there. You can see it goes in the bottom right here, which is really nice. So when we upload files here, they go on the bottom right, which means you're not stopped doing your workflow. if you need to go to your calendar and maybe update some events or your data list or anything like that, we'll let you know when these assets are done uploading. All right, so back to the upload files. So again, once they're uploaded, those assets are running 24/7. We again can retrieve from the media library. You can actually create a Canva design in the Reach system. Now, again, this is a preference thing. Some people, they love starting into Canva and then exporting it. Otherwise, you can create the content right here. The other one is our design editor. So in the beginning, I talked about this, saying on that fourth workflow that we actually have an internal system. I'm just going to minus this real quick, that allows you to create content as well. So we do have preset templates that you can use. Of course, you can add sort of preset text or just, a blank sort of text field, stock photos and elements. You can physically upload items. We have backgrounds. Again, a lot of ways to create templates, obviously internally. So that's also another option. I'll kind of reselect this. And then our last one again is video URL, YouTube and Vimeo. All right, so just to kind of get the tutorial wrapped up, a couple things I just want to continue to talk about. The first one was that upload. So remember I told you guys, hey, schedule content and the upload files right here. Okay, so if you have videos and documents, I told you couldn't go through schedule upload. Here's 2 ways to accomplish that though. The first way, and probably the quickest way to be honest with you, is just do the upload files. That will just get the assets into the playlist. And then personally, what I would do is just go in and add the scheduling to it. That's one way. The second way to do that is you go into your media library right here, and then you add right here, upload file, and you add the videos and the PDFs and the PowerPoints and all that. Once you upload them, then you go back to the playlist to essentially schedule them. So those are 2 things that you can play around with. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with either direction. I think it's just kind of like what works for you and what works for obviously your organization and how many playlists you're managing. All right, so the last part now of this tutorial is how do I create a playlist? So obviously you can see the button right here. It says new playlist. I create that. I give this playlist a name. So I'll just say Michelle's demo. I continue. All right, and then I'm been brought right into here. So this is nice. I can literally just drag and drop. And again, we have the schedule content, right? So I can go down that path, which is what you and I have talked about. I can go to the ad where I can just physically upload something. But essentially, once you start just uploading right in here, now you're just adding to your playlist quickly and scheduling and adding content. All right, so that was sort of a longer demo. There's a lot there. If you guys have any questions or if there's something that I just didn't explain very well, please let us know, by the way. Reach out to us. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.